at the screen. Back to Boston. Mismatch against Aliyah Gray, and she buried it. Biggest lead of the night, and it's taken away by who else? Mitchell. Lexi Hall buried it to beat the buzzer. The flourish at the end of the third quarter for Indiana in a game they have to win, and they're up 15.
The refs couldn't steal this one. After all the frustration of Game 1's controversial officiating, the Indiana Fever stormed Gainbridge Fieldhouse and never looked back, crushing the Atlanta Dream in a defensive masterclass in Game 2 of the WNBA playoffs. It was their first playoff win in almost 10 years, with Caitlin Clark cheering from the sidelines. Yet, with 5 players out, this was more than just a win. It was proof the Fever could rise from adversity. And when Aliyah Boston finally spoke postgame, her words captured the very heartbeat of this team. You won't want to miss what she revealed. If you're fired up, then comment, "Let's go Fever." Let's go.
Game 3, baby, game 3. See you in Atlanta. Not done yet.
One more.
Jump in the chat, baby. Come on, come on.
Need that.
One more game, baby, one more game.
Fans didn't just walk into Game 2 ready for playoff basketball. They walked in carrying anger. The way Game 1 ended still stung, with whistles that felt one-sided and moments that looked like the deck was stacked against Indiana. People were calling it robbery, and the mood wasn't just frustration, it was disbelief. When you play your heart out and feel like officials tilted the balance, it's easy to lose focus.
Now, this one on Lexi Hall got me riled up because this was early on in the game, and this was probably the best defense that Lexi could have played. If you watch this play here, Ryan Howard is going down, Lexi Hall's guarding her, Ryan goes behind her back. Lexi doesn't touch her because she's backpedaling the whole time. She has her hands straight up. Like, this is really good defense that Lexi played here.
And here's where it gets interesting. Indiana not only had to deal with that outrage, but also the fact that 5 players were out. The weight on their shoulders could have crushed them before the ball even tipped. Head coach Stephanie White knew exactly what was at stake. Before the game, she spoke about that missing ingredient in Game 1, saying, "There's gotta be a desperation that you play with and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times." That wasn't just coach speak, it was a challenge. She was calling for a gut check.
There's a certain desperation that has to come with how you play every possession. I didn't feel like in Game 1 we played with that desperate, mentality that we needed. Particularly when you look at 50-50 balls, when you look at how many times, we didn't get inside the 3-point line for a defensive rebound and the ball hit the floor and they were able to get it. There's got to be a desperation that you play with and a sense of urgency that you play with at all times. We didn't have that consistently for 40 minutes in Game 1. I expect us to have it here tonight.
What we saw from Indiana wasn't a shrugging off of bad luck. It was a full embrace of pressure. They didn't fold. They committed themselves to a performance that nobody could take away in the box score, no matter how the officiating went.
Stephanie White wants to see her go downhill, be more aggressive offensively. This is a great matchup. Boston against Jones.
Just a fun matchup between 2 big posts with size, with good.
From the opening possession, the Fever created a tone that left the refs irrelevant. They scored first, defended without hesitation, and before Atlanta could even steady themselves, Indiana had control. For the first time since 2002, the Fever went wire to wire in a playoff win. Not one lead change, no ties, just complete control for 40 minutes. Think about that. That's how you silence the storyline hanging over from Game 1. You erase every window for controversy.
This is the other Howard, Natasha for Indiana. Powers with the board, goes up, tough one and got it!
The defense turned the game. Atlanta, a team that thrives on perimeter shooting, couldn't breathe against Indiana's pressure. In the first half, the Dream shot 1 for 10 from deep. By the end of the night, the numbers hardly improved, finishing 5 for 19 from 3 and under 40% overall from the field. Their rhythm was gone. Every possession looked rushed. Indiana dictated everything, and the refs? They had no game to dictate.
Great job! That was a masterclass on the defensive end of the game. Hell yeah, ladies, hell yeah. It really was. It really was. I mean, I'm so proud of you. Stepped up to the challenge. back against the wall, and our back is against the wall every fucking game. But y'all, look, I'm proud of you. We ain't finished though, right? We ain't finished. KK, way to be ready. The second half, your aggressiveness, it was a difference maker. What it opens up with the gravity that you create is huge for us. You gotta stay aggressive.
Hell yeah,
At the same time, the crowd wasn't just loud. They were fierce. Gainbridge Fieldhouse sounded alive, and it wasn't lost on anyone that Caitlin Clark was right there on the bench standing and clapping, fueling that energy like an extra gear in the building. Even though she couldn't be on the court, her presence tied the team and fans together. When the clock expired, the win stood as much more than 1-1 in a series. It was proof this team could control their destiny instead of watching it slip away. Redemption after heartbreak. But what truly carried Indiana to this moment wasn't just a single hot hand. It was the way everyone stepped forward at the same time. For Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, and Aliyah Boston, this wasn't just another game. This was their very first playoff game on Indiana's home floor, a milestone moment that carried extra weight since this franchise hadn't hosted postseason basketball since 2016. But walking into Gainbridge Fieldhouse came with pressure, because Caitlin Clark was ruled out for the season, Sophie Cunningham was missing, Sydney Colson was unavailable, Chloe Bibby couldn't play, and Ari McDonald was also sidelined. That is 5 players gone before tip-off, a rotation squeezed thin in the most important game of the year. The question was obvious. Who would step into that void?
And they have allowed her in their half-court sets so far to just take open drive to the rim. There's the three.
And fans didn't appreciate how good Kelsey Mitchell is, and they're certainly getting an eyeful this year. Here she goes. She's guarded by Teddy, takes it right to the basket and misses. It's a hit for Mitchell.
The answer came from the player who has been holding it down for years. Kelsey Mitchell didn't just play well. She carried the offensive load with a game-high 19 points. She drained 4 three-pointers, many of them momentum shots that stretched the lead and made Atlanta chase all night. Without Clark's usual gravity on the floor, Mitchell had to create her own offense and command defensive attention every trip down, and she embraced it. This was her stage, her home playoff debut, and she made sure the crowd had plenty to cheer about.
Kelsey, you've had a lot of moments with this franchise throughout the years. Where does leading them to a playoff win at home kind of rank among those?
Oh, man, it takes a village. I think we all piggyback off each other within our group and in our organization. So I think it took a collective group effort to be able to be here. And I think that our first win here was big for us because we've been resilient throughout the course of the year. And it was just, I don't know, it felt really good to see ourselves on top and do something great for a change. When it comes to us being resilient, have to fight off a lot of ups and downs, backs and forth. And so it felt good for us to really, come out on top tonight.
Aliyah Boston added the kind of steady production that makes her presence in the paint impossible to ignore. She scored 15 points, pulled down rebounds, and handed out 3 assists, quietly stacking stats while dictating the interior game. Against a tough Atlanta frontcourt, she found ways to score inside while also forcing double teams that opened up looks for teammates. Every trip in the post reminded the Dream that Indiana now has a centerpiece they can't push around, even in the postseason.
Stephanie White wants to see her go downhill, be more aggressive offensively. This is a great matchup. Boston against Jones.
Just a fun matchup between 2 big posts with size, with good anything.
Boston up, under, and in.
If toughness had a face for this Fever squad, it was Natasha Howard. She chipped in 12 points, battled for 5 rebounds, and gave Indiana that edge they desperately needed. Howard did the dirty work, fighting under the rim on both ends, slipping into open spots on offense, and providing enough of a scoring punch to keep Indiana in control. It wasn't flashy, but it was relentless. And in a shorthanded game like this one, her contributions were invaluable.
Both teams around that 40% mark. They didn't hit that in game 1, and that's a good way to go for Natasha Howard. Gray goes down. What is she? Good patience by Howard. Mitchell bounce pass, and Sasha Howard, and it rolls in.
Howard has had great activity tonight.
Then came the spark nobody saw coming. Rookie Michaela Timpson, with limited minutes all year, poured in 9 points in just 9 minutes of playing time. She entered the game when rotations were thin and immediately brought energy. Quick finishes, aggressive moves, and a confidence you don't normally see from a rookie in a playoff atmosphere. Those 9 points weren't just filler. They were an injection of momentum at a critical stretch, showing that Indiana's depth has surprises it can still reveal.
Boston bottled up, but found Timpson. Another good pass from Boston. Great passing out of double.
Pam, before the game, you asked Steph White, how are you doing this? She looked at you and said, the core group has been resilient and flexible. We saw that towards the end of the quarter, and they continue to start the fourth.
And for the biggest crowd reaction of the night, that belonged to Lexi Hull. As the third quarter wound down, she lined it up and drilled a buzzer-beating three that sent Gainbridge into chaos. The noise that followed said everything. Fans had been waiting years for a moment like that inside their home arena. Hull's shot didn't just extend the lead, it sent a message that this was Indiana's night.
Set the screen. Back to Boston. Mismatch against Aliyah Gray, and she buried it. Biggest lead of the night, and it's taken away by who else? Mitchell. Lexi Hull buried it to beat the buzzer. The flourish at the end of the third quarter for Indiana in a game they have to win, and they're up 15.
Every single player had a moment in this story. Together, they proved resilience isn't just a slogan, it's who this team is. And while the offense had plenty of highlights, what truly made the difference was the way their defense suffocated Atlanta until the Dream had nowhere left to go, earning them a 77-60 victory and sending back the series to Atlanta for a pivotal Game 3. Aliyah Boston wasn't just scoring points in Game 2, she was shaping the entire rhythm of the floor. Without Caitlin Clark setting up plays, Boston became the anchor Indiana needed, standing strong in the middle, forcing decisions, and setting the tone on both ends. She didn't just play her role, she expanded it, showing everyone that she can lead emotionally just as much as she can with her footwork in the post. That dual presence made the Fever more dangerous because every Atlanta adjustment ran straight into her.
Bench need a coffee in for her. She's got to take advantage of those opportunities as the defense is reacting to Bree Jones, and Aliyah Boston was cooking a little bit.
But think about the challenge she had. Atlanta's front court is one of the most physical groups in the league, and Boston had her hands full matched up with Bree Jones. In Game 1, that matchup had given Indiana real problems. This time, Boston flipped the script. She worked Jones out of her comfortable spots, stayed firm on the block, and made her presence felt every possession. The difference was clear. Atlanta could no longer run their offense through the paint in the same way, and once that outlet shut down, everything else for the Dream felt forced.
What stood out to you about able to get going? It looked like there were some turnovers elsewhere, and so you kind of put it into your own hands and had that nice run before some foul calls.
Yeah, I think for me, just continue to be assertive. Just reading the defense, trying to get good possessions going. If I just get the ball, feel it out, see where the ball needs to go next, whether that's shoot it or pass it, I mean, I'm just kind of just taking what the defense is giving me.
It wasn't just about stopping one player, though. Boston knew that anytime she caught the ball inside, Atlanta would have to bring help. She turned those double teams into easy looks for teammates, swinging the ball, finding cutters, and giving Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull openings they thrived on. That's the kind of growth people point to with Boston. Earlier in her career, doubles could slow her down. In this game, they became a weapon she used against her opponent. And that's why the fan debate about whether Indiana has the interior strength to neutralize players like Brittany Griner doesn't feel as loud. Boston keeps showing she can be the answer in those battles.
That sequence right at the end of the third quarter, just speak to the importance of that, and that kind of feel like sort of like the backbreaker for Atlanta, so to speak, when you.
Yeah, that was great for us. That seriously was. Scoring the ball and then getting that tip and then Lexi hitting that three. I mean, the energy, everyone felt it. The crowd was going crazy, and we just used that momentum into the fourth.
All of that composure on the floor made her words after the game hit harder. When asked about what fueled Indiana, Boston didn't hide her pride. She called the defense a masterclass and described the locker room as crazy because the team was overwhelmed with belief in what they put together. She said they were locked in, and the way she said it reflected not just confidence for one night, but the conviction of a group that now knows exactly what they're capable of. That emotion was real, and you could see how contagious it was for everyone around her.
Speak to the emotions of a win like this. Kelsey already kind of touched on it, but what's the vibe like in the locker room after you get a dominating win?
Yeah, I mean, everyone was happy. The vibes were really great. I think, just like Kel said, this was super big for us. Our backs were definitely against the wall in this, and we know that we've just been through so much this season that coming out with this win and then giving ourselves another chance in Game 3, emotions are high.
Even Caitlin Clark couldn't hold back from reacting to it in her own way, sharing an emotional forward post about Lexi Hull's 3 that echoed that unity. The players who were on the court and the ones stuck on the sideline all felt part of the same victory. That spirit makes the Fever dangerous. And now, the only question is whether that unity and discipline can carry into Game 3 on the road. Game 3 is everything. The series is tied, the momentum has swung, and now it all comes down to one night in Atlanta. For the Fever, the test is simple and brutal. Take the dominance they displayed in Game 2 and bring it into the Dreams home building, a place where visiting teams rarely walk out with wins in elimination settings. The Gateway Center Arena will be loud, and Atlanta will play desperate. But that's exactly the kind of storm Indiana has been bracing for all season.
Steph holding them to 60 points today. What did you see that was so effective from you guys defensively and really turned this game?
I mean, our aggressiveness, our attention to detail, our ability to contest without fouling, to be disciplined, in that area, I thought was huge. We played good enough defense down there, and our offense just couldn't get going, and we were able to get it going on both sides tonight. I continue to just be so proud of this group and their resilience, their toughness, and their ability to respond.
Atlanta's biggest problem is that Game 2 made their weaknesses obvious. They couldn't hit shots consistently, finishing with just 39.4% from the floor, and their perimeter players never found a rhythm against Indiana's pressure. 5 for 19 from deep isn't good enough in a playoff game where every basket matters. When your offense is forced into rushed shots and your spacing collapses, it exposes how much you rely on pace. Indiana controlled the pace, and that blueprint is the kind of thing that often travels well no matter the arena. For Indiana, the key pieces don't change just because they're on the road. Kelsey Mitchell's scoring is reliable, and her ability to create space without Caitlin Clark drawing defenders makes her one of the most dangerous players on the court. Aliyah Boston's post presence is the anchor. Her control of the paint forces double teams and creates openings everywhere. Natasha Howard will once again play the physical role, battling for extra possessions. Then there's the wild card, Michaela Timpson. 9 points in 9 minutes doesn't happen by accident. The question now is whether a rookie can walk into a hostile environment and deliver that same spark again.
Kelsey, going into a do-or-die Game 3, what excites you about that opportunity as a competitor?
I think it would be a really good challenge for us. I think, obviously we want to win a game and they want to win a game, so I think somebody has to lose and somebody has to win, obviously. But I think that we take tonight for what it is and start mentally preparing once it hit 12 o'clock and being able to go into what's important for Thursday. And so, like I said, it's a big opportunity tonight, but you gotta let it be the moment and let it kind of fuel you for Thursday, but you gotta move on.
Psychologically, Indiana might have the edge. Think about the pressure shift. Atlanta is the favorite at home, they're expected to win, and yet they're the ones reeling after having their game plan dismantled. Meanwhile, Indiana just wiped away nearly a decade of postseason frustration with one win and proved they can do it without their superstar. That confidence is powerful, and confidence can quiet a crowd just as fast as a fast start. Atlanta will adjust. They'll look to get the ball moving faster, push tempo, and attack before Indiana can set their defense. They know the stakes too. But this Fever team has been forged by adversity throughout the season. Surviving injuries, silencing doubt, and now staring at a do-or-die challenge. They've already shown that setbacks harden them. No matter what happens, their identity feels rewritten.
Steph, for Game 3, how much does a win like this give you guys confidence that you can close out the series in a tough situation on the road?
Yeah, I think that this is a group that's confidence has really never wavered. We've been in every kind of situation you can imagine, and we've been able to find ways to put ourselves in position to win, and this will be no different. Obviously, it's going to be on the opponent's home floor, but it doesn't matter. I think for us, our if we maintain our attention to detail, if we continue the defensive effort that we had tonight, and we shoot with confidence, we give ourselves a chance. And this group is continued to show their heart, their character, night in and night out.
This win went far beyond the scoreboard. It reminded fans what Indiana basketball truly represents: resilience, unity, and grit. After nearly a decade without a playoff victory, the Fever finally reclaimed their identity with a dominant 77-60 performance that erased doubt and reignited their future. Now the stage shifts to Atlanta. With the series locked, Game 3 isn't just another elimination game. It's the chance to change the franchise's path and prove they belong among the league's best again. The Fever silenced the refs, silenced the doubters, and now it's time to believe they can shock the league. If you're fired up, then comment, "Let's go Fever." Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.